system, PR and voltage, QR and voltage drop are strongly interdependent with among each other. That's why they are called strongly coupled. In the same way, del V dash and PR are weakly coupled, because for the change in PR, obviously there will be change in voltage drop, but that will be not so effective as for QR. Right? That means, say in any system, PR is changing. Obviously, PR is not in your hand. Due to change in consumer demand, there will be change in PR. So if there is change in PR, there will be obviously change in voltage drop. But in which component? Del V double dash. Okay, and due to change in QR, there will be change in voltage drop. In which component? That is del V dash. Now del V dash is change is much stronger than the del V double dash. That's why this change is more dominating than this change. Could you follow that?
Ma'am, which two quantities are weakly coupled?
Weakly coupled means they are interdependent with each other, but they are not very much effective. That's why that means PR and del V double dash. Because if there be
Yes.
any change in receiving end power, there will be change in voltage drop in transmission line. But if there be a change in receiving end active power, then the change in transmission line voltage drop will be not so much as for the change in reactive power. If I tell you by any numerical value, say for 20 megawatt change in power, if the change in voltage is 10 volt voltage drop, then for 20 MV here there is no value, so I cannot say in that way. It will be, I think, more than 50 volt. When I shall discuss load flow study, I can discuss it in with more justification. Then could you understand what is the meaning of weak coupling and short and the strong coupling?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, just opposite, as we want to say here, if we want to transfer 20 megawatt power, then change in delta will be more. If for 20 megawatt power, if the change in delta is 30 degree, if you keep both end voltage fixed, then you are just by changing delta, you want to change the power. Then if you change delta very small, 10 degrees, you will be able to transfer the power 20 megawatt. But keeping the sending end voltage same, sending end and receiving end voltage same, if you want to transmit 20 MVAr power more, that means increase the reactive power, then you have to increase delta far beyond 10 degree, because delta has very weak coupling with the reactive power. That's why Q is very much weakly coupled with delta and strongly coupled with V. Similarly, P is strongly coupled with delta and weakly coupled with V. Right? At last I have told Q. Q is strongly coupled with V, weakly coupled with delta. You write this 4 line. First is P is strongly, P means real power at receiving end. P is strongly coupled with delta, weakly coupled with V. Have you written?
Yes, ma'am.
And then Q is strongly coupled with V, weakly coupled with delta. In V, you give magnitude sign. Magnitude of voltage is dependent on Q, and angle of voltage is very much dependent on P. I think in other part of your power system performance class, when you study the stability and other thing, you will learn this one also. Okay. So obviously, when we want to control voltage drop, we have to control, if we can control Q, then our effort will be more effective. But if we want to control by P, then our effort will not be so much effective. So have you understood strongly coupled and weakly coupled? Have you understood? If you do not understand compensation, then your power system study may be ended here. Compensation is very much important in power transmission, power system studies. Have you understood the strong coupling and weak coupling? Who are strong coupled with whom and why? I'm not. Yes. So shall I assume that you have understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then you see here del V means x into QR by VR. That means for a particular value of QR and VR, this del V is fixed, right? Now this QR is not, and this VR is obviously again dependent on this del V dash, because actually VR is not the reason. VR is the effect due to this voltage drop. So actually VR del V will be there. Due to that, there will be a voltage drop, and then effective VR will be Vs minus that voltage drop. So now we have got the expression that that del V equal to x into QR by VR. Now you see, if we want to maintain magnitude of voltage fixed at any transmission system. Here obviously VR I have written magnitude only. There will be a magnitude sign, that will be better anyway. So in that case, your QR should not deviate from the specified value, is not it? If you want to maintain this voltage drop. Say in a 33 kV transmission line, you have seen that 0.1 kV voltage drop. So you are supplying 33.1 kV at the sending end. For that reason, you are getting 33 kV at receiving end. Then obviously, you should expect that for any load, there will be 33 kV at the receiving end. But that will not happen if this VR will change. Then how to control that one? For a particular value of QR, you have calculated this one. Now say this one QR plus del Q by del VR, magnitude of VR, right? We can write in this way. Now if we make by every time this del Q 0, then we shall get rid of the problem of voltage deviation, because in that case virtually QR will be constant for that particular transmission system. But del Q actually will change. At receiving end, you cannot ensure that every time there will be 20 plus 50 MVR, 20 plus 10 MVR load. There may be 30 plus 50 MVR load also. So how we can tackle that one? Simply, if this is inductive, you just add corresponding capacitive value here, say minus del Q. Then what will happen? Effectively, the QR will remain same. But actually, you are supplying a higher load, higher reactive load at the receiving end, but you are supplying some capacitor. Say this QD is greater than QR. Then what is the difference between QD minus QR? Now you have connected a capacitor which is supplying a reactive bar equal to QD minus QR. So effectively overall power at receiving end will remain QR. Could you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So change in voltage magnitude in any bus strongly coupled with Q and weakly coupled with P. This thing also I have written in note on, so vice versa you can write for delta also. Now this voltage control, so to control this voltage drop, we have to control this reactive power. Now there are different methods. One is using shunt compensation. Shunt means we shall connect any compensating device. Compensating means which is virtually compensating the extra loading. That's why compensation. So that compensating devices is connected in parallel. That is the shunt compensation, shunt capacitor that I have told you. So obviously, in that case, QD equal to effective receiving load equal to QD plus QComp. So QComp equal to QR minus QD. Now, two cases may arise. One is heavy loading condition. One transmission line receiving end are heavily loaded. Is heavily loaded. Then what will happen? Then obviously this QD is much higher than QR. Then what is actually problem will be there? If QD is much higher than the QR, then obviously this voltage drop will be very high. So that effective VR, Vs minus del V will be very low. So under voltage problem, there will be severe voltage drop, under voltage problem. What is the context of under voltage problem? If this is voltage drops at receiving end, then it will draw more current, there will be more loss, and if there will be more current drawing, then further voltage drop will be there, and this thing will be cumulative. Okay, so there should be a control, otherwise there may be total collapse. That is called voltage collapse, not the collapse like the loss of synchronism. Anyway, so heavy loading condition, QD is more than QR, so it will be under voltage problem. Under voltage problem, how we can compensate, how we can tackle? Whatever be the extra QD here, that we compensate by capacitor, because the QD greater than QR means QD is inductive. So the excess inductive load we can compensate using capacitor. So this Q comp we make capacitive. So Q comp will be capacitive. Otherwise, from the sign also you can get, say Q comp equal to QR minus QD. So if QD is greater than QR, then obviously Q comp is negative. Negative inductive var means capacitor, because we always take VI conjugate, right? We have taken VI conjugate. So a positive inductive var means positive var means inductive. So what is the value of capacitive area capacitive compensation? V square by XC simply. So V square omega C, this is per phase. So total will be 3 into this, right? So similarly for low loading condition, when the receiving end load is not there or very low, then what will happen? Then shunt capacitor of the power transmission line will come into action, and there will be the Ferranti effect. There will be heavy voltage rise, because in that case this QR has very low. So del V become very low. This del V will become negative. So VR become more than VS. That is the Ferranti effect that we have seen in long transmission line. So in that case, what will happen? There will be over voltage problem. Receiving end voltage will become more than sending end voltage. So there may be insulation failure. So to control that, what we do? We insert shunt capacitor. Shunt means always parallel. So shunt capacitor, shunt inductor. Shunt inductor means we shall connect inductor here in this way per phase. All I am showing in per phase. So in this way we shall use shunt inductor, and we can sort out the problem. So these two are basic compensating device, shunt compensating device. So we can handle the over voltage or under voltage problem either by connecting capacitor or inductor in the transmission. Obviously not both at a time. We need only one, because during under voltage problem and over voltage problem will never come at a time. So when under voltage problem will be there, then we shall add capacitor. When there will be over voltage problem, then we shall add inductor. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Now here I have shown only per phase value. I hope you have calculated this reactive var for capacitor for several RC circuits, AC circuits. So all these are per phase values. So if the values are given in per phase quantity, then you can calculate the total quantity. Actually, inductor, capacitor come in bank, because you will connect these inductors or capacitor in every phase. So in three phase. Actually, this connection will be 3 phase. Capacitors are so 3 phase connections may be star connected or delta connected. For capacitor, generally capacitors are delta connected. So from this calculation, what will you give, whatever C value you will get, that will be the equivalent star connection. So from there you have to get delta connected. What will be the equivalent delta value if the actual capacitor is in delta? And reactors are generally star connected. So how will you get, say in practical case, how will it will help you? Say we need compensation of 20 MVA. Then what is the VR? Say 33 kV. Frequency is 50 Hz. So you can calculate how much C is required to compensate this 20 MVA. That C means that C in star connection per phase. So that C in star connection per phase. Now, if you want to buy the capacitor bank in delta, then you have to calculate equivalent delta value of that capacitor. I hope you can calculate. Now, generally capacitors are connected in delta. There are several advantages of that, and similarly for inductor, that they are generally connected in star. So I hope if you want to calculate the value of capacitor for a particular amount of compensation, you can calculate. Can you? I shall not give any numerical for this separately. Will you be able to calculate value of capacitance for a particular amount of compensation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Similarly for inductive compensation also. So these are basic compensating devices. So what we have seen in short, say if there be a bus at receiving end, this is the receiving end bus, then at their transmission line is connected. Sometime we have need to connect an inductor. Sometime we need to connect a capacitor. Which compensation is required, that will be dependent on that operating criteria, operating condition. Then, if you may keep a capacitor connected even under no loading condition or low loading condition, then obviously the system operation will be worse. Similarly, if you keep connected an inductor during heavy loading condition, this will make drag the system towards the worse condition. So for that reason, we have to take care of this thing, that every time when purpose is served, we must withdraw the compensation from the system. So it is a very tough job. Every time you have to monitor the system operation, and you have to insert capacitor or inductor. So it would be better if we get only one device which can serve both the purpose. Sometime it may act as a capacitor, sometime it may act as an inductor. Then it will be better. And at the same time, if it can automatically sense whether it is a voltage drop or voltage rise, that will be further better. Then it can automatically control its output, whether it will be inductive or capacitive. Now there are so many devices right now in present power system. We shall discuss. I shall discuss only two of them. Okay, and it does not mean that the application of capacitor and inductor are obsolete now. Obviously, they are there because the application of capacitor and inductor directly has some advantage. They have no complication in operation. You just connect or disconnect, and if you are sure that that incoming in the next operating time, next time slot, what is the load, it is heavy loading or low loading, then obviously you can confidently connect a capacitor or inductor. So both these conventional compensating devices, that is capacitor and inductor, are still in use. Along with that, there are some advanced devices which can serve as a capacitor, as an inductor, depending on the operating condition. These shunt compensating devices are also called local Vard generators. Why local Vard generators? You are connecting at the load end. So load side will decide whether to connect or not. So that's why it is called local Vard generator. Sending end is not controlling that one. The receiving end substation will decide whether to connect the shunt capacitor, shunt compensation or not. Now, I have already discussed the shunt capacitor and shunt inductor. Along with that, we shall discuss now shunt condenser, the synchronous condenser and SVC. I hope you have heard the name of synchronous condenser. Synchronous condenser is nothing but a synchronous machine, synchronous motor at no load. Anyway, this line you will understand later, but I have written here. Shunt compensation may also be fruitful for enhancement of power flow to the transmission line. Whatever I have discussed here, discuss about the voltage drop in the transmission line. At the same time, what will be the power flow? What will be the value of PR and QR in the transmission line? We are not bothered about QR because QR will create unnecessary problem. We are interested in PR because consumer will pay only for PR. So always there will be a trial, there will be an effort to increase the PR through the transmission line and decrease the QR so that we can get the maximum revenue. So that is the increment in enhancement in power flow to the transmission line. So obviously if the voltage drop is reduced, then obviously current will be reduced. If current is reduced, then I square R loss will be lesser. If the I square R loss is lesser, then whatever be the power is generated at the sending end, there is a chance to supply that one at receiving end. In that way, shunt compensation also help in improving the power transfer through a transmission line. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
This thing you must write for the next class, for this class, for power circle diagram, and next for load flow. Everything is not for power, actually for this power system performance paper, everything is not possible to write in PPT or in note. So you must sit with an exercise book. Whatever you think that it may be required, it is important, you write yourself. Next, what may be the problem associated with shunt compensation? Obviously, if you are connected a capacitor, if there be any nearby, there be an inductor, then that may create parallel resonance. And resonance means actually either very high current or very low current. So but the power will not flow at the desired path. So resonance circuit should be avoided. So there is a chance of parallel resonance that should be avoided. And over voltage and under voltage problem may happen if you have connected just the wrong compensation. During Ferranti effect, if you connect capacitor again, then there will be over voltage problem. During heavy loading condition, you have connected an inductor, then there will be again over other voltage problem. So that things are to be taken care of. Now let us discuss the synchronous condenser and SVC. Synchronous condenser is the synchronous motor at no load. You have learned synchronous motor, and you know the induced EMF in synchronous motor or any synchronous machine, we can change by changing the excitation current or the field current, because field current control the induced EMF in the armature or the stator. Now this is the PD plus JQD is the actual consumer demand. But this demand is say maybe more than the power supplied or less than power supplied. Due to that, there is an unnecessary voltage drop in the transmission line. To avoid that unnecessary voltage drop in the transmission line, synchronous motor may be connected. Now, if we write the current equation of synchronous motor, then current equation obviously voltage minus induced EMF by current, because motor will draw power from the transmission system. Now, one thing you must remember, synchronous motor at no load. That means there is no mechanical load on its shaft. That means it is not drawing any active power. So if it is not drawing any active power, then angle difference between VR and E will be 0. They will be in same phase. If the two bars have same angle, then there will be no active power transfer to them. So in that case, that I have written at no load P equal to 0, so you will be in same phase with VR. If we neglect the loss in the motor, then what will be the reactive power drawn by the drawn by the synchronous motor? Imaginary part of V conjugate I. Why I have made V conjugate? Because I is an expression of with a negative sign, some additive form, some subtractive form. So you cannot take complex conjugate of this. Either you do not know this value. A plus B, A and B both are complex. Then how can you take the conjugate of A plus B? Within A and B, they are complex, real and imaginary part. So we cannot do that one. So to avoid that thing, I have made V conjugate I, because power calculation magnitude of power will be same. Only when we are taking V conjugate I, in that case, positive imaginary part will give you the capacitive part. So obviously QSC is the imaginary of V conjugate ISC. So plus I have written. So that means if this come positive, that means this value is capacitive. So simply V conjugate V is the reference phase also same, and conjugate minus JXS. So we can write J numerator as minus J. So we get this expression. Could you follow this one? The expression of QSC, or the reactive power output of the reactive power consumed by synchronous condenser or synchronous motor.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you must remember, this reactive power synchronous motor is not supplying, obviously it is consuming, but it is consuming capacity. So it is consuming inductive, it is consuming capacitive. So actually it is compensating the inductive barrier. Okay. So QSC is capacitive, this is positive only when E greater than VR. If E greater than VR, then this expression of QSC will be positive. Positive means capacitive. Then when E greater than VR, when the motor is at overexcited condition. Now when E less than VR, then automatically QSC become negative, then underexcited condition. So in that case, it will act as an inductive. So synchronous condenser at no load, we can operate by controlling the excitation, we can make them capacitive, make them to absorb capacitive var as well as inductive var. So both the purpose may be served using the synchronous condenser. Only that so it is very easy to switch from the capacitive mode to inductive mode. Only the thing is that it is very costly, since it is a rotating machine, its maintenance cost is high and its installation cost is also high as compared to the conventional capacitor. And one thing you must remember, synchronous condenser is not the same general synchronous motor. Synchronous condenser is the synchronous motor at no load. So for synchronous motor, when it is used as synchronous condenser, in that case there is no projected shaft of that motor. Say one synchronous motor is used for driving purpose, so driving belt or driving something, and one synchronous motor is used for the synchronous condenser, and say for both are kept for the maintenance purpose. Then by visual observation you can say that which one is synchronous condenser, which one is acting as synchronous motor, because synchronous condenser will have no projected shaft. There is no chance to make it mechanically loaded. Understood? This question generally asked in interview, job interview or viva question. How will you visually identify one synchronous condenser from a synchronous motor? Understood this part?
Yes, ma'am.
Now next is the static var compensator and synchronous motor. One more thing. Now in this excitation you will control to make it capacitive or inductive. Obviously along with that, if there be any control circuit that is sensing VR, then automatically by comparating with some preset value, you can, this excitation control can sense whether VR is greater than the preset value or less than the preset value. So depending on that it can sense whether it is over voltage problem or under voltage problem. Accordingly it can operate as at over excited mode or under excited mode. So it may be automatic also, with the help of some power, some electronics interface and some control device, control circuits. And static var compensator is complete power electronics device. It is connected to a transmission line through a transformer. Through CT/PT, the current and voltages are sensed. Actually, it is nothing but a set of capacitor and set of inductor in parallel, but their connections are controlled by thyristor valves. You know, in thyristor valves, until and unless you give the gate signal, it will not open, not on. So obviously, when this thyristor valve is in full conduction, then capacitor current will be maximum. Similarly for inductor current. So by controlling this thyristor valve firing, you can control what will be the effective inductive current, effective capacitive current. In that way, you can control whether this SVC will operate as inductor or capacitor. In short, we may write in this way. It is always controlling by seeing the V reference. There is some parameters spacing, and then there is a regulated C and regulated L. Regulated means through thyristor control or some advanced bioelectronics control. Through this both capacitive current and inductive current is controlled. Here I have shown for capacitive compensation, IC is more than IL, but by the control you can make IL more than IC, and we can get our desired voltage level at receiving end. Could you understood the SVC? Only the name and how does it work, that is sufficient.
Okay, ma'am.
Next is power flow through a transmission line. So up to this shunt compensation we have used to control the voltage drop in the power transmission line. So we are controlling the voltage drop in power transmission line, means we are controlling actually the voltage magnitude at receiving end. So voltage magnitude at receiving end we can control by shunt compensation. That much we have understood. And for shunt compensation, we have no need to bother about anything. We can just switch on it at receiving end or at load end. Now let us find out power transfer through a transmission line. You may have derived this part in your other part of your power system performance class. I am repeating. I do not know whether you have done or not still now, so I am repeating that part. Now current through the power transmission line is Vs minus Vr by impedance. So Vs is at an angle delta. Vs is leading always than Vr, because if the receiving and sending end is leading, then only it can transmit power, otherwise not. So from there, if we write the real and imaginary part, we can separate this one. Then by VRIR conjugate, we can get the active power and reactive power. Then you see active power is VRVS by X sine delta and reactive power is this. Then obviously delta should be positive. So the delta should be positive means Vs must be leading from Vr. If delta is negative, then power transfer will be negative. That means the power in that case will transfer from receiving end to sending end, not from sending end to receiving end, right? So this is the active power, this is the reactive power. Now you see, so active power is dependent on sine delta. If we think the magnitude of receiving end voltage and sending end voltage, we shall keep constant. Then it depends on the transmission line reactance and the angle difference between these two. That's why this delta is also called load angle, because it is control the power transfer to the transmission line or the active power to the transmission line. Now you see, so at delta equal to 90 degree, PR will be maximum. Now delta equal to 90 degree, what will be the value, maximum value of PR? VRVS by X. Now if we want to maximize this one, if we can decrease X, then we can maximize that maximum value. How we can decrease this? How one reactance we can decrease? Obviously, we have to subtract some value. So to subtract some value, we may connect a capacitor here. Then obviously, it will be subtracted. Simply. So this is called series capacitive compensation. In that case, we have inserted capacitor in series with the transmission line. Like this. This is called series compensation. Series compensation is more troublesome than the shunt, because every time you have to open the circuit, then you have to connect it. Actually, there is some method for that. There is one bypass circuit for that in this way. I cannot. In this way, there is a switch. So the switch will be closed at the normal operating condition, and during compensation, the switch will be open. In that way, you can see. Anyway, it is troublesome as compared to the shunt compensation. What will be the effect? Say then what will be the effective line reactance? X minus X comp. Now say K% of the X has been compensated. So 1 minus X equal to 1 minus K into X. Why not 100%? If you make 100%, then it will be infinity. And that means there will be series resonance. If that is series resonance, then the infinite current will flow through the transmission line. Total loss will occur in the transmission line. Receiving end, no power will be received. So we should avoid that series resonance. So that's why there is a percentage compensation. So in that case, PR obviously VS by VS VR sin delta by X effective, and obviously QR will also improve. So QR is improving means actually voltage drop is also improving, but the effect will be more in the active power than the reactive power. Okay. So in this way, the series compensation is also used in power transmission system, but series compensation is more effective for active power transfer than the reactive power control. And that as a disadvantage is the series resonance. Next term you may not understood at this moment. That is mal-operation of distance relay. Relay actually in power transmission system always there is some protection issues. Some protective devices are there. One of them is distance relay. Distance relay give protection of the transmission line. If there be any fault at any point of transmission line, then distance relay can sense that by measuring reactance up to that point. Say if there be a fault at this point, then it sends the reactance up to this point and then sends it whether it is fault or not. Now, if there be any shunt compensation, then that measurement will go. So that will affect the protection. Okay. This second part you will understand in your fourth year first semester. Now, at this moment, this conception is sufficient that it will create. If you make the overcompensation, then it will create series resonance. So that will be the worst operating condition of the system. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, series compensation obviously will be fruitful for voltage profile improvement also at this is in this way. So actually in short, there are voltage control I shall teach you in next class. Actually in short, there are two type of compensation. One is series, another is shunt. Shunt is very easy. At locally you can do it where it is the point where it is required. You insert either capacitor or inductor as conventional mode, or instead of that, if we want to make automatically control, then we can use synchronous condenser or the static bar compensator or SVC. And series compensation is actually used to control the power transfer through a transmission line, control the active power. Because if we increase the active power, then we can get more revenue. And actually the purpose of the transmission line is to transfer the active power. All the things are the result of that. So main purpose of the series compensation to use it for the improvement in power transfer through a transmission line. But since it is improving power transfer, that means the current will be lesser. So in the voltage level will be higher. So it will help in voltage control also. And in shunt compensation, both type of compensation may be used, capacitor or capacitive or inductive. But in series compensation, we shall never use the inductive compensation, because if we use inductive compensation, this power transfer will further reduce. Okay, so system will be worse in the terms of power transfer as well as voltage control. So series inductive compensation is vague. It is not possible. So always series compensation means always capacitive compensation, and this compensation will have a limit, because if we do beyond that, then there may be resonance problem. To avoid that resonance problem, generally 30 to 40% compensation is allowed. Say if the value of the reactance, series reactance is 100 ohm, then maximum 40 ohm capacitive reactor will be connected in series, not more than that, to ensure non-happening of the series resonance. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all for today.
Ma'am,
Bolo.
shunt capacitor inductor, while we are compensating the voltage, then first and three almost both are almost same, SVC and
Yes, yes.
capacitor.
Inductor and the series and the synchronous condenser, all the purpose are same. Okay. So you have three options actually. You have
Actually, SVC is also a kind of using capacitor or inductor depending upon the load receiving end.
SVC.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want to say? Oh, SVC is not.
Ma'am, SVC is also a, I think, same type using just like capacitor or inductor depending upon the load side.
Yes,
What?
they are same. They are both. These three are shunt capacitor inductors are the compensating device, but this synchronous condenser and SVC is the same. Synchronous condenser, you are controlling the excitation to get it in capacitive mode or inductive mode, and in SVC you are controlling the current through the inductor. Say this is a parallel circuit. If the current through the inductor is more, then obviously current through the capacitor is less. Then in that case, this overall combination will act as an inductor. At the contrary, if you are using allowing low firing angle, that means conduction time is more. That means more capacitive current. Then obviously inductive current will be less. So overall current will be capacitive. Do you want to ask this thing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. How it's working?
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. These three are same. There are other also StatCom. I have not discussed. That is not required for you. These three are same. But obviously, if you consider from cost, then cost of the local compensator, that is inductor capacitor, will be minimum. Then synchronous condenser, SVC is more costly than them.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, any more question? If not, then please leave the reading.